those who just are hopping on, hey Tindo. For those who are just hopping on, we are talking today about things, money lessons that we wish we would have known sooner, earlier, maybe that our parents, we wish they would have taught us, but now we know. So if there's any insights that you guys have too, or anything that you learned as an adult that you wish you learned as a kid, put it in the chat too, so we can help everybody hopping on this live as well. And you can support me by sending stars, sending gifts on this live so we can keep this going. I go live every Tuesday around this time. And really, it's basically to have those money conversations that we wish we would have had growing up or earlier about investing, about real estate, about finances, what we should be doing. And again, I'm not a financial advisor or anything like that, but I do kind of give my take on my experience going from $100,000 in debt to a multimillionaire in just 3 years through real estate investing. You can get to that point doing other types of investing too. However, real estate was something that I was heavily focused on that got me to my goals very quickly. And I was able to basically turn my life around and get out of debt, create generational wealth for my family, and to be able to have the flexibility to not just be working until I'm 67. And so for me, that was important to have that be a part of the kind of life that I wanted to live. I didn't want to be stuck at a job, especially one that I didn't like or love. I didn't feel like I was having an impact on my community or doing something that everyone around me could benefit from. So I feel like learning about finances, learning about investing can totally pivot you into a different direction if you want to, or you stay where you're at, especially if it's something that you enjoy doing, that gives you the flexibility, but maybe it's not the income that you need. So investing is definitely a way that you can start to create another stream of income so that you can do what you love or you enjoy to do, that brings you, is your passion. So hey, Mr. Wright, Car, if you guys have any questions, put them in the chat below. I'll be answering them today. And if you guys are just tuning in, please put where you're from in the chat so I can see you. On some of the platforms, I am on a desktop, so I can't see everyone who is on or joining unless you comment. And I would love to see your beautiful faces. Where's my water? All right, let's get this party started. Okay, for the people who are parents, who have kids, or who help take care of other people's kids, what did your parents actually teach you about managing money? Hey girl, hey Daphne. Kauai. Awesome. Thanks for tuning in. Hey, Byron, repeat. Realtor here in Dallas, Texas. If you ever decide to buy here. Yes, I actually bought a few commercial properties. We still have an RV park in Alba, Texas, and I bought, was an equity partner in a few apartment buildings in Austin, in that area, but not in Dallas. I know that Dallas is the city life and is a little bit more expensive, but there's still great opportunities in any market, even in Hawaii. Even though it's expensive, there's great opportunities here. Hey, Suga from Utah. Aloha. So if you're just joining in today, we are going to be talking about basically money lessons most parents never learn themselves or wish they learned as a kid, and what we could do to start helping our kids think differently. And even if you don't have kids, what, some of this still applies to you that you could do. Or if you have nieces and nephews, your auntie, uncle, you know, this is just what can help the next generation get thinking differently. And this is just to go over like what I mean by raising rich kids, because it doesn't only have to do with monetary, but teaching them financial lessons, teaching them what is important to them and how they can achieve that. So, if you guys have questions about that, please put them in the chat and I can answer them today. Buy, rent, repeat. Mahalo for all the likes. If you are enjoying these conversations, you want to have more conversations like this, please like this live, send gifts, send stars if you can. And I want to just leave this kind of open. We'll have a little bit of a flow, but I know a lot of times we can't have this conversation with everyday people, or the people in our circle might not want to talk about money, might not want to talk about finances or real estate, or maybe they think you're crazy talking about all this money stuff. And trust me, I was in your shoes before. There was a lot of people around me who didn't talk about this stuff because when I was growing up, like nobody ever talked about money, or it was um, taught thought of as like more of bragging when you talked about how much money you're making or how you can make more money, or maybe a new investment opportunity that you could get into. A lot of people had grown and that I had grown up with or was around, especially the generation above me, they went through foreclosure, they went through a housing crash. A lot of them were living paycheck to paycheck, including my mom. And as I grew up, we live paycheck to paycheck. So we never really thought about, oh, what would we do once we have money? Where would we invest it? How do we make it grow for ourselves? So I think there's a lot of people in this room on this live who are in the position, maybe you have a steady job, you're making income, and now it's time to teach the next generation, whether you're a parent or not, to be more financially literate and just take that part seriously, because it's something we need going into adulthood that a lot of us were never taught or never talked about. Aloha Tone from Napa. Are you into anything other than long-term rentals, like short and mid-term? So I do have one short-term rental, and we actually used it initially to house a Lahaina family that after the fires, we purchased the property, and then now we use it as a short-term rental. We actually go and stay there quite often. So that's the reason why we we actually, now that they have moved on to more permanent housing, we use it whenever we go to that side of the island, because it is quite far from where I'm at. And then we rent it out when we're not using it. But that's not my main source of cash flow. Majority of my rentals are long term. They have people on HUD or rental assistance, or they are mostly low income locals here on the island. So that's one of the benefits of learning real estate investing. Once you do get your financial foundation, is that you can have a bigger impact on people that you care about, and for the ways that you want to give back to your community, if that's something you're focused on. And if you're joining this live, you're in my community, we align in that sense that for me, being rich isn't only about money, isn't only about wealth. It's about building wealth to make a positive impact, not only for yourself, but for your community, and give back in ways that could help lift up other people. But to each their own. You can make money however you want, but I hope that in you following my account, that this brings more light to not only making money to serve yourself, but to serve others as well. Hey, Vals, Cali guy. So please like this live if you like having conversations like this. Like it, send me some gifts. I'm just learning all the things, terminologies on here. Send me some stars so you can help me make more content about this. I love to come on here weekly and to just leave this open-ended so that we can start having more of these money conversations. So does anybody in here currently talk about money with their kids? You can put in the chat below. Hey, Hector, Maria, Paale. Oh, howdy from Texas. Val's Cali guy says, honestly, not like I'd like to. Yeah, I mean, yes, it's important. Oh, Suga too. Yes, I tried to teach them. It's important to teach kids responsibility, to get good grades, and definitely to grow in their education, having good manners, everything, all of that is important. Keeping your word, doing your chores. But oftentimes in school, the route is always to get you to get a good job, make money, save money. And that's kind of usually where a lot of kids experience with these financial conversation kind of ends, right? And so when you're making money versus building wealth, those are two different skills. And I know even raising my own kids, and especially my daughter, I had her young at 19. I didn't even know what I was doing. But I knew that I didn't want my kids to just know how to make money, but I wanted them to build on that, learn how to make their money work for them. So that's basically what investing is. You're teaching your kids or yourself how to make your money work for you. So I know Val's Cali guy says doesn't talk about money with his kids as often as he would like. Suga said she tries to teach her kids. Thanks, Lauren, for liking this like this live. If we want to keep this conversation going, like, send hearts, send gifts. Three Diamonds says, yes, the main message is to save and invest. Awesome. I think just even bringing up some of this terminology, even though they might not understand it, will help it subconsciously in their brains to think about it, especially when they're out in the world or they're purchasing things. And there's, for me, my biggest thing is waste. I am learning how to be okay with throwing things away. I'm not a hoarder by any means. I keep things a little bit too longer than I should. But I think for me growing up, I was so frugal because we didn't have money and we had to learn to just work with what we had. And that's what basically a lot of people who have a saving mindset, like, oh, I got to save this, I got to save money, and kind of don't think about maybe earning more or other potential investing opportunities because they're holding on tight to their money. And maybe it's because of something that happened in their childhood. The way they were taught growing up was just to save. But we need to start teaching our kids to start earning money, maybe learning a high income skill, right? Like they can do their career, especially, I mean, shout out to teachers. Love them. I don't know how some of these intermediate and high school teachers have the grit to power through some days with all these crazy kids and their hormones. But as parents, we need to take on the responsibility, or aunties and uncles, or someone who wants to help the next generation. We have to take on the responsibility of teaching them something outside of earning money through a job. And what buying something expensive or using all of your money to just buy one thing that you want, how that's going to affect the rest of their financial decisions. And so I think even early on, um, I would take my daughter to our rental properties. I would have her paint different things, help with the trash. This is when I was very hands-on with my rental properties. And granted, backstory, I did not grow up with money. We lived in low income housing for a while. I was raised by a single mom. We didn't own any real estate, anything like that. But after college and having a child young, I decided that I wanted to have a different path for my life. So I finished college, got a career, and I was doing well, but I still was $100,000 in debt from having a child young, moving away for college, trying to make it on my own, trying to pay that down after 10 years is working as an engineer. So that light bulb went off in my head like, oh my gosh, it's going to take me a really long time. Maybe I hope to pay off this debt. I made a 10-year plan to pay off the debt. And I thought to myself, how am I going to do this? It's not like at my job, I couldn't make any more money. So how else was I'm going to be able to get ahead or pay off this debt and finally like be able to breathe? And I still wanted to buy a house. I still wanted all these other things. So not growing up knowing how to invest or what other possibilities there were out there, it just made it difficult to try to get ahead. Does anybody feel like they're in that position now? Like it's difficult to get ahead? Type in the chat. Oh, Candace said, hey, Zasha, I really love your videos. I just bought a piece of land. Would love advice on a way to generate an income while building a structure for my home. So, Candace, I mean, there's so many different ways that you can start investing. I mean, the best way to generate income is active income, especially if you just need it for the time being. So, that would be shorter term income. I don't know if you have a business or you sell anything. Creating content, a lot of people make content online. I think it's just up to you to choose one thing that you can start doing and then just go all in on that one thing. I don't know if you guys ever read that book, but that book is the best. I need to reread it because we all have shiny object syndrome. We always want to do all the things. But I think for you in your position right now, if you bought land, you're waiting to build your home, figure out another way to make some active income. So, but once you have the land, you can put rentals on the property. I don't know if that area allows it. There's so many other ways. We put a tiny home on our property, and we have them on a couple of our other properties as well. So that's a great way to offset your mortgage, a great way to offset and have more cash flow coming to yourself from that property. So that was one way that I had to teach my daughter to look at things differently, is not only on, especially when it comes to things you need, but also to look at things like, okay, how can this benefit me, like a house, right? Like I need a place to live. How can this benefit me and I still make money? And so that's what we call sometimes house hacking, is when initially when I bought my first home, we rented, there was two sides to it, two units. One side we rented, and then I also had a 3-bedroom. So at the time it was just me and my daughter. So I rented the 3rd bedroom to one of my friends. So it's not ideal. It's definitely a way that you can get ahead, but it's uncomfortable, right? Like everybody dreams of getting their first home, it being this nice home with a white picket fence. But it's like, if you are taking your finances seriously and there's a way for you to offset that expense with income, it's a game changer in your finances. That's how I started to pay off my debt, was that um, the second unit was paying for majority of the mortgage, and the room I was renting was helping pay for utilities. So even just doing that stuff, my daughter was young, she's seen it, she didn't really understand it. But I think if they're going through it with you, and even when she had to go to the rental properties and paint it, she's like, oh my God, like, why do I have to come here? Why do I have to do this and that? And I would try to explain to her, like, hey, this is a rental. We're providing housing for people, but they're also paying us money so that we can um, build wealth. She didn't understand any of that. But at the time, it kind of went over her head, and she was just thinking about, okay, how can this benefit me? Well, if you help me, I will pay you, like $15. And after that, we can go and get, whatever you want with that $15. So I know a lot of people are against paying their kids for chores, but paying them to then have this financial lesson that's a benefit to them will hopefully stick through, and they'll learn something from you with that. So that was my whole goal. And then now, I mean, she's 20 years old. She invested in her first tech startup that we did. And I think after her graduation party, she was able to save up, I think, over $10,000. None of that was for me. But she saved up a bunch of money. And then, last year she made her first investment. So that was awesome to see her kind of adulting and making this decision to invest. But that started early on when, I taught her about the expenses coming in. I would talk to her about bills, um, about why I was purchasing rental properties, why I quit my job, went into real estate, talked about it, even though, I know for a lot of you guys too, it may seem to go over your kids' heads, but eventually something will stick and something will help them just be more comfortable with talking about money, talking about finances, and then maybe like coming up with their own ideas, maybe a new business to start. I know when I was younger too, we would have our own car washes and garage sales without our parents. I don't know if that's legal or not, but we would collect money, and that's something like we were always entrepreneurs growing up to, like, okay, we don't have money. How are we going to make money so that we can get the things that we want? And I think it's harder when you have this next generations of kids that, because we grew up without it, now we want to help support them. They have everything. But in the meantime, while you're doing that, you still have to teach them these financial decisions because they're going to have to make them on their own too. Let's see. Tone says, I've had my daughter use the 3 envelope system: save, spend, give. That way she can use the same principles for bank accounts. Yes. So I do that with my son as well. When my daughter was growing up, I was 19, so I did not know. I was not that on it with when she was younger, but as she got older, we're able to kind of catch up on some of those financial lessons that we wish we would have learned. And this is something I've been thinking about a lot of, like, imagine a child from young, like I'm talking about baby, who starts understanding how money works, right? And just the value of money, but doesn't want to hoard it and save it because they think like, oh, it's so scarce, but understands how to earn it and invest it. that would change their lives early on. They understand assets and liabilities and how to use money as a tool. Because I think, like Tone said, there's 3 buckets, right? Spend or save, spend, and give. And so there's actually 4 buckets for me. It would be also invest. So, of course, saving to invest could be something that you teach them as well once they get to a certain savings amount. Please like this live. Yes. Thank you, Lauren, for all the hearts. Please send a gift if we want to continue this conversation. Type in any questions you have below. Candace says, for sure, great ideas. Thanks a lot. Please share this live as well with anybody who is looking to just learn more about their finances and has some money lessons they wish they would have known. So I think it's important to understand that wealth or being rich isn't just about having money. And I don't think that parents need another financial course. I think a lot of people just need something simple that gets families taking action. And so we've been asked a lot about this. I put out a ebook about raising rich kids. And so with that book, people wanted to more accountability, because I think it's so easy every day to get caught up in everything we're already doing, our jobs, our family, sports, other activities, that making this a priority is difficult. And so we're creating a Raising Rich Kids challenge that will basically talk about some of these ideas and put them into practice. So we're going to be sharing more about that on Thursday. Make sure you're on our email list, because we're going to be releasing it then. And so we are going to have it open for a short time and close it out. And it's really, the challenge is there to help hold you accountable. There's money steps at every age group. And for us, it also is important to invest in yourself. Like, I've always been a big proponent, not always, maybe ever since I turned 30, 10 years ago. Now I'm 40. But once I made that pivot in my 30s on putting a priority on investing in myself, to learn about investing, to learn about financing, to really make it a goal to not only become a millionaire, but to create generational wealth, to change the path in a short period of time. That's when I seen results. That's when I seen just real change. And so I created this challenge to help with that accountability. And so it's a 3-day challenge. We're going to teach practical money skills step by step. So if you want to be a part of it, let me know yes in the comments below. Comment Rich Kids. Can send you more information on that once we release it again on Thursday. So make sure you guys, if you are in my DMs and I ask for your email, make sure you send your emails and get on that list, because we're going to be opening it on Thursday. And here's just what I want to say today. I'm actually going to answer a few more questions before we wrap this up. So if you guys have questions, put it in the chat. Please like this chat as well if you like these conversations that we're having on these lives. So Tone said, interesting, more on the 4th envelope for investment for kids. What examples of investments for kids? Tone, great question. So if you didn't know, for me, especially if they're younger, opening them up a Roth IRA, a custodial Roth IRA, you can do that for your kids. They're under 18. So that's what I've done and helped my son start investing a portion of his money into that. So we talk about that in the Raising Rich Kids book. You can purchase that in the link in my bio right now. Or if you want to join our Raising Rich Kids challenge, which helps with accountability, where we have it's a 3-day challenge to really give you actionable steps, hold you accountable. You can join that shortly as well if you're in my email list. But we don't have it open yet. So let me know if you want to get on that challenge, message me, and we can, when we release it, just be ready for it. Because I'm excited. This is our first time ever doing a challenge like this. And I know when it comes to challenges, it's so easy to purchase something and forget about it. But when it comes to challenges, it helps hold you accountable, and you need to take action. So that's what I love. I love about doing these challenges and just seeing people get results instantly, because you're able to now see them do the thing. Because I know I've purchased and got a lot of free ebooks, free guides, and things like that. But a lot of times I just get busy with other stuff and don't implement it. I'm going to be real with you. So with challenges, and I've done many challenges as well, it helps hold you accountable so that you actually implement. Because there's one thing to learn, it's another thing to actually implement and do. Because like many other financial accounts you probably, or creators that you follow, like investing $25 today at a certain increment can lead to millions down the road of investing the simple way. So if you're interested in that, comment Rich Kids below, and we'll send you more information. Lehua says, struggling with figuring out the fine line between giving my kids everything but raising financially responsible young people. There is a fine line, and all we can do as parents, like we cannot determine what the outcome is going to be for them, but all we can do is set things up. And I don't believe in not giving your kids things because you want them to struggle, because we're past that point, right? I was just on a call earlier, and it was funny because she was saying, like the old saying is like, some people feel like they're in the mud, or their kids have to be in the mud. They got to get out of it themselves, which basically means like, I struggled, so they should have to struggle too, so they can get the same drive or willingness or results as I did. But you can't really instill that. Like even other people who've been through the same things as me or you, they don't have the same results either. So with your kids, you always kind of want to give them have them be a step ahead without handing them everything. Because I know for a lot of, people who are online or watch the news and see all these like super mega rich families, and then by the next generation half the wealth is gone, by the next generation majority of it is gone, or even by the next generation it's all spent, and the wealth that their great grandparents had built for them, for their families to last generation, only lasted 1 or 2 generations. So by teaching them these skills and honing in on, okay, first for kids too, we got to think about it, even ourselves, right? It's just like, what brings us enjoyment, what makes us happy, what is something that they really want. So say like my son really likes the Nintendo Switch. I know he'd be really excited about getting the latest one or a newer one or a new game. So then you just work backwards. Again, it's a reward system, right? Like you work backwards from, okay, what financial lessons do I want him to learn in order to earn getting this game? And you can't make it too hard. We got to kind of gamify it, make it fun. Or what does he want to do? He wants to go to Japan. He's already been there. He's a little bit bougie with that. But okay, if he wants to go to Japan, which is more of a long term, like he's too young in order to set those long term um, steps for that goal. But just think about something that your kids want to do or like to do every week, or an item that they want to have that they can work towards. And so instead of it being like maybe chore related or um, some other way they earn it, just try to think about some financial things that they can do, or even playing Monopoly, right? Like, I know when I play Monopoly, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like a real estate, this is an investing game. How did I never think of it in that way? But it does teach you about money. So even games, I know like Hua, you probably have like cash flow. There's cash flow for kids. So bust that out, right? Just like every so often, you guys, it doesn't have to be, I'm going to sit down with my child and talk to them specifically about money. It can be some fun way that you can just start having these conversations and them thinking about like, oh shoot, okay, how much is this worth? How much, how badly do I want this game, or do I want to save up for this trip? So I think just like getting them to think a little bit differently is the whole goal of this, not for them to like memorize every kind of investing strategy or know all of these high level techniques, financial lessons that we want to teach them all in one shot. And I know it's still difficult for me to this day to not spoil my kids or not just buy stuff for them. But I think what I've learned is just like sprinkling in those lessons in is going to help them to understand the importance of it and how to apply it the way that they want to. Rich says, I'm 50 and I don't understand financing. Hey, there's a lot of people in that same boat. I'm not saying that I understand everything to do with finances. I'm not a financial advisor or anything like that. I just know what I've done to set me up and my family up, and now helping my other family members to learn about what this investing thing is and how it can change all of our lives for the better. And we just started talking about it. Rich says the most grown up thing I did was get sober. Awesome. I believe in that as well. My husband got sober a few years ago, and that has completely changed our lives in his business and what he concentrates on and growing in. Now he has 3D printers, AI stuff instead of, you know, doing other stuff on the weekends. We'll just leave it at that. Rich says, been wanting to learn because I kind of spend on a whim or hoard. I have no children. We're pretty much kids. Oh my gosh, so funny. It's funny because somebody messaged me like, oh, I know you have a book about raising rich kids. How do you raise rich adults? So we are thinking about other things that we come up with, other content we can post about that as well. I mean, it's basically the same steps as raising rich kids, but you're not in the age bracket of 5 to 10, you're at 50 to 60. But the good thing is that you are closer to retirement age. So there's different tax benefits that could help you and could be on your side actually if you're investing when you're older. I mean, I'm 40, so I'm not spring chicken. I'm not young, but um he said, thanks for all the content. You're welcome. Like I said, this is just a space where we can talk about finances, real estate, investing, and talk about money lessons we wish we would have known, because I can't talk about money with a lot of the people that are in my circle, or people get uncomfortable talking about money. And I know still to this day, it's not like I just talk all about money all day long, but we're talking about building businesses. We're talking about how we can help other people. We're talking about investing in things and how we can help our future generations to be, better off than we are. So Even if you don't have kids yet, you probably have nieces and nephews. Do not worry about it. This is all good tips that you can try to help them out with as well, because I know maybe they might not have those financial conversations at home or even at your job, right? Helping your coworkers to understand this kind of stuff. So do not worry if the only financial education you're getting is on these lives or through through social media. That's where it all starts, right? This is the jump off point. From here, um, there's many different ways that you can learn. So I think you just got to decide what is your goal. And typically it's going to be maybe a freedom goal, financial goal. Maybe you have a goal to set to teach your kids by a certain date, you know, how they can start, like, what's it, who said that? Was it Tone Suga? Somebody said they have the three buckets that they teach their kids. So there's lots of different financial strategies too that you can use to teach your kids. And just keep having these conversations. Keep having these conversations with them. Like who said, yes, played that, got them back in the kitchen table playing it again. Yes. So this is a reminder. If you have Monopoly, if you have cash flow for kids, start playing that again with your kids. Spend some time outdoors with them too. Just what I've done more recently has been trying to walk everywhere and that I can, right? Like I'm not talking miles. I'm talking like maybe majority, like half a mile away from my home. But just start walking with your kids, spend time with them, like true quality time, uninterrupted, without cell phone, without computer, without TV. And I think this all comes back down to connection. Like, how can you connect with your kids? Even though this is about money lessons we wish we would have learned or we would have been taught. Also, when you're looking down at the next generations, how can you reconnect with them so that they do take this information in? So a lot of them don't know how. Oh, snap. Okay. Thank you, Three Diamonds, for the rose. Divine Fingers. Cat in the cup. I'm still getting used to all these emojis and all this stuff on social media. But thank you so much, Three Diamonds. You're always such a big supporter of these lives that I do. Like I said, I do this for you guys to have these conversations, to bring them up. And I hope that, you know, you can have more of these conversations with your friends, family, your kids, your spouse, and just know that there are great people out there. You're a great person. And, especially if you're trying to give back to other people, your kids, the next generation, your community. The biggest takeaway, Bonnie says, love you so much. Keep up the good work. Earning the step ahead is so rewarding than giving this step ahead. Yes, thank you so much. Thank you again, Three Diamonds, for sending. Please like this live, share it with someone who is interested in finances or teaching their kids or learning money lessons, learning about real estate. I mean, pretty much I'm just speaking from my experience and what I've seen that helped other people as well. So don't think you're behind and don't think you're not doing enough, but just set a goal to what your next action steps are going to be when it comes to finances, when it comes to wealth, or when it comes to like living the life that you want to live. Like, I think it's not often enough that we think that it's possible to live a life that we love and we want to live. I know back when I was an engineer in a cubicle, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to be here for till I'm 67 because that was my path. I went to college, I got my degree, and I got the steady job. I was making good money. But there was something inside of me that was like, Sasha, you're not fulfilling your purpose. There's something else you need to be doing. So if there's a little voice in your head saying that, then start making an action plan to figure out what else you want to be doing. And like I said, you don't have to quit your job, but just figure out what else you could be doing to try to get ahead, to try to be filled with passion, be filled with purpose, and to have an impact, because you have more potential than you realize. I think we all do. And we're our worst critics. So, especially for those parents out there, make sure your kids are learning what to do with money after they get it. Because after my daughter turned 18, even though I was teaching her all these financial lessons, she was saving and things like that. But I think like any 18-year-old, you're going to want to spend money. You're going to want to do things a little bit your way. And I think, who said it? Lehua, yeah, that connection and communication with your kids is key to helping them go down the right path so that you can answer all these questions that they have. And you need to keep that door open. And so every day conversations can be a way to teach them a lesson without it being so stern and strict and in your face. And you don't have to be a financial expert to teach your kids, right? Because the goal isn't just to raise kids who have money and make all this money, but the goal is to raise kids who understand money and who have control as much as they can and help make it work for them so that they can help themselves, help others. And we really can't control what the world, what TikTok, what Instagram, what Facebook, what YouTube what they learn from all these platforms. But we can control what we teach them at home, right? So if this conversation hit you, keep an eye out. We're officially announcing our Raising Rich Kids Challenge on Thursday on our email list. So make sure you DM me your email if you haven't yet to get on our newsletter. And if you ever thought, I wish someone would have taught me this when I was growing up, then this is going to be for you and your family. So make sure you're following me so you don't miss this announcement. Mr. Mark said, is it in September? Yes, it is the end of September. We'll release the dates as well. He also said, do you like real estate investing clubs to find people to raise money? Yes, I think mentorships are a great way to find people that will invest with you, but it honestly takes you putting yourself out there and making use of your network. Social media has been huge in helping me raise over $10 million from everyday people that built a connection with me. Then we hopped on a call, found out what their goals were, and then, explain the next steps from there. So there's so many people out there that want to invest or maybe want to get into something that can't find anybody they relate with. Then boom, you pop up and they're like, oh, I want to invest with you. I want to buy your product. I want to partner with you. And so the more you keep showing up, the more opportunities you'll have for these connections to happen. And you can do it all while being yourself. You don't have to change who you are. So thanks again, 3 Diamonds, for all the gifts. If you have any more gifts to send before we wrap this live up, send it my way. I would love that. And for those of you out there, if you know another parent who needs to hear these types of conversations, or auntie and uncles, or people that are caring for other people's kids, share this live with them and follow me on here, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook. I share different types of content on the different platforms. And make sure you're on my weekly newsletter, because on Thursday, we're finally going to tell you what we've been working on. Raising Rich Kids is coming soon. And hui ho. Take care. Whew.